Tonight, I officially announce my retirement from the WWE.
Okay, brace yourselves, be emotional, but let's dig into it. It is unfortunately official.
I just think it's time that we all face facts.
John Cena is having his final run of his WWE career from 2024 into 2025. At Money in the Bank, he confirmed that his retirement tour begins in early 2025 and is set to span for most, if not all, of the year. To summarize this, what he said is that at the show and the press conference, Cena said, while WrestleMania 41 will be his final Mania, it won't be where he ends his career. Cena also said that his jorts are going to be retired once he retires. I'm pretty sure you can wear jorts after that, but not the same way. And he's going to replace it with a suit and tie. He's open to going to a world championship at the number 17 record-breaking level. He appears to be entering the 2025 Royal Rumble match, and he's going to be having a 30 to 40 appearances on this final run, what is most of the year. It wasn't surprising that Cena was met with an outpouring of love and emotional support from the WWE fan base and those within the industry itself. Long gone are the days when people meant what they said when they chanted,
John Cena sucks!
Come to be a term of endearment for a man who is widely considered one of the greatest of his generation to perform at the highest level. Cena always said that he wanted to wrap up his career by the time he turns 50. And assuming he retires at the end of 2025, he's going to be nearly 49 years old.
Stand back. There's a new wrestling quiz coming through. Check out BrainBuster, the daily quiz that tests your WWE knowledge with winning streaks, stats, and more. It's time to see if you're up for the challenge.
Let's get into it. What needs to be done with John Cena's final run in WWE? This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kevin Kelm. I've booed John Cena and I've cheered him too. What do you think needs to happen with John Cena in his final run? Let us know in the comments below. Oh, look at you. I can see you. Yeah, you can't see John Cena, but I can see you sticking through that little ad. Thank you so much. We have a few ideas of what WWE should and shouldn't do in this, the very final and pivotal year of an important career-ending run here. For one, WWE should not be putting John Cena in a string of weekly back-to-back matches so that he can face superstars for the first time ever. Overexposing him in his final year of in-ring competition is going to dilute the value of those big matches that he's in. We need Big Match Johnny being Big Match Johnny again. Unfortunately, this sucks for some younger members of the roster. Yeah, on the younger side, who could benefit from having the stardust of John Cena rubbing off of his colorful wristbands on them when they take an attitude adjustment. But for the active week-to-week superstars, it's just a matter of what it is. Yeah, maybe it's just best overall that John Cena's not in there all the time. Yeah, who do you think is not going to be part of this final run? I'd love to hear your take about that in the comments below as well. Even though it's 30 to 40 appearances in a year, that can't be described as 30 to 40 matches in a year. And it can be described as a part-time run, but certainly more expanded than what we've seen from John Cena in WWE in the past few years. It's still better to keep Cena's matches almost exclusively on premium live events or big destination versions of Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. Now, we get it. WWE scoring the most expensive and profitable TV media rights deal that has ever been granted within professional wrestling. Monday Night Raw and premium live events moving to Netflix internationally. $5 billion over multiple years kicks off in early 2025, which lines up with John Cena's farewell tour. It's going to be a part of justifying the money they're spending and getting such a big property. And we get that in order to give Netflix more value for the billions they're spending, WWE is kind of going to have to put John Cena in some matches on Monday Night Raw. and that makes it special. It's not outright unavoidable. His matches on Raw should be kept to a minimum, and minimum doesn't mean they're not special. It means they are simply awesome things you get to see on Netflix in John Cena's final run. Last year, heading into WrestleMania 39, Austin Theory, the young, braggadocious superstar, was put in a dream feud against Cena and ended up beating him at WrestleMania. The only issue is the match, in the eyes of a lot of people, simply didn't live up to standards. Nobody remembered anything about the rivalry beyond John Cena chewing Theory up on the microphone. Austin Theory somehow became the only person to ever be worse off after beating John Cena. That's no detriment to him, but it's just simply a matter of the way that the cards laid out when it was all said and done. Yeah, maybe that's not the same example if we're going to do a generation versus generation thing in this one final run. Old rivalries is the route to go. Perhaps his last WrestleMania match can be against Randy Orton, a man who, along with himself, helped define a generation of WWE, yet they've never had a one-on-one match at the Show of Shows. Certainly, they've had a lot of big matches together. They were in the same match at WrestleMania 24, but that was a Triple H triple threat match. Yeah, so not exactly the same thing. It only seems like a fair spot since neither legend will be taking up a championship spot at WrestleMania from our estimations, and it can still be a marquee attraction in Las Vegas. It's already been hinted at in some way or another on social media. CM Punk, someone who is certainly counterculture, and John Cena was the face of WWE culture for quite some time, were certainly a yin and yang against each other in a fantastic way in the early 2010s. Their Money in the Bank 2011 main event may be one of the most underrated WWE main events of all time. Reigniting that could be very, very special. Or better yet, they could team up together against two up-and-comers. Who couldn't love seeing the story of two old, bitter rivals now working on the same page for a common cause? Yes, it's a tried and tested trope. Yes, how do they coexist? But one that would certainly translate well for guys like Cena and Punk at this stage in their careers and lives, and who have for the longest time stood across the ring against one another, but not side by side like that. It would be an attraction unto itself. There's always the possibility of him targeting a world championship run at a record-breaking number 17. We're not going to deny that he doesn't deserve it, but, some could say that maybe that's more of a game for the modern, younger talent on the roster. But apart from him hitting that record number, will anything good come from him being a world champion? That's a reasonable question. Even with his 16th world title reign in 2017, the only two things that came out of it were the fact that Cena tied Ric Flair's infamous world title record, and that it set up Bray Wyatt's first world championship win. But that's also ignoring the significance of what could happen if he does indeed break the record that Flair has held for many years. To counter that, Cena's final run, having a record-breaking moment before he puts up his pump-up Reeboks for good, would also be a seismic swerve to keep fans, both casual and die-hard, on their toes instead of just having them anticipating the ending of it all. Maybe behind the scenes, Cena isn't keen on being a world champion, even if he doesn't admit it when he's talking to the media. An alternative idea, which in our opinion is maybe more interesting, is the story of John Cena going after the only accolade that has eluded him throughout his entire career: the Intercontinental Championship, the working man's title within WWE. That's all it takes for him to have a Grand Slam championship run, and he deserves a crack at that as well. WWE's done a great job since Gunther made the IC title a prestigious fighting championship once again. Oh yeah, we're going to get into the stats here. There's only been 2 champions in the past 2 years in the IC title's lineage. Cena, having a part of that, could really elevate that, even in just a transitional type of role. It would also be a great way to get him to feud with up-and-comers, but also make it legitimate at the same time. Other names he's never crossed paths with would want to tangle with him in those circumstances. But in reality, Cena won't need a championship storyline to feel important. He's a championship unto himself. He's John Cena. The fact that his last run is enough of a draw is a special, magical thing unto its own. There's been a fine balance where it doesn't feel like Cena's taking up the biggest spot in WWE, while at the same time helping to elevate younger talent. He's been in that role for the better part of a few years, making sporadic appearances and having sporadic matches. But this needs to feel like something different. But that's where another key factor in how WWE should handle Cena's last run comes in. He shouldn't be losing that much to anyone and everyone. He's been losing a lot in the past few years. After having the Super Cena reputation for a majority of his career, the former franchise player of WWE took on the opposite approach from 2016, losing all sorts of matches to all sorts of talent like Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Solo Sikoa. If you're going to have every superstar who faces John Cena beat him, then it's going to devalue their victories in a big way. The whole idea of beating the big superstar John Cena won't mean that much when fans simply just want him to feel like John Cena again. And it will devalue John Cena as well. It's a different mode they have to go in here. In the very same breath, Cena probably is going to be put under scrutiny if he beats too many newer superstars. It's a hard balance to hit here. But how is a win over him supposed to mean something right now in these circumstances? The only way that can be done is by having superstars that have earned the right to beat Cena get wins over him. And that's not everybody, and that's debatable, and that's a whole other thing. And yes, that means WWE is probably going to have to present some type of newer version of a Super Cena. That's a different debate. When we say a watered-down version of that, we mean John Cena that just beats about everyone except a select few. In our opinion, the best way WWE can book Cena in 2025 is to present him as the most fired-up, determined version of himself that we've seen in years. You know who he is?
It's all over the Miz!
He knows who he is. He knows what his body can do. He's crafty, he's smarter, and he makes different choices while still being a fiery, fighting underneath hero for the fans to rally behind. There needs to be an emotional lava flow of culmination and conclusion at the end of the year, with him losing, yes, losing, to a worthy opponent on his way out. As is the tradition of professional wrestling, you are going out on your back, looking up at the lights, and making another superstar on the way out, giving back to the business that gave so much to you. And no, we don't mean a Kurt Angle type of farewell where he just gets a random opponent and loses in 6 minutes. Yeah, that wasn't fair to Kurt Angle, but that was then. But this is John Cena. This is different. It needs to feel like a momentous, game-changing event for both him and whoever gets the truly career-changing moment of getting to end the career of the GOAT. Can everyone playing their part in this epic, emotional story deliver on their roles? Can John Cena have the biggest send-off in WWE history? Because at this point, that's what fans are expecting, and some feel it needs to be that and more. Yeah, it's a big question to ask, and if you've watched this entire video and you haven't jumped into the comments yet, come on, do it, or I'm going to reach through the screen and give you an attitude adjustment. I don't know how that's going to work out, but get down there, or check out the other videos we have like these.
Does the